Hello, I'm Mathieu from Ludovox, and today I'm going to give you an overview of Runewars The Miniature Game. So Runewars The Miniature Game is a war game in which you battle against an army, and you are an army against the other one. So in this game, which is for 2 players, ages 14 and up, and that plays around 90 minutes, in this game, you're going to have a scenario with an objective here and a layout here. So you're going to vary the way you set up the game and the way the game plays because you have many objectives. The setup also can bring you terrain such as pikes, rocks, lakes, ruins, or whatever, and they are going to be helpful because they make archers a bit stronger or pointless depending on the circumstances, and the bigger troops will have a harder time crossing the crowded areas. So this game is about defeating the opponent, and you do that by completing the victory cards, and the objective cards give you a certain amount of victory points, and these are added to what remains of your army after 8 turns. Obviously, of course, if you kill the opponent's army before the end of the game, you win. That's the other way to win. So in Runewars The Miniature Game, the units are made up of 3 things. So you have the miniature, obviously. You have a card which tells you the powers of the unit, its attack and defense and health values. And you have a dial, and this double dial here is the core of the game because that's the way you're going to plan the actions. So the way the game plays is very simple. In every turn you have 3 phases, and both players play each phase. So the first phase is the planning phase. Everyone plans secretly the actions and the bonuses for each of their units. Then the actions are resolved one by one, and once everyone has played in and revealed their dial, there is the third phase, which is basically an end phase, in which you clean up the board and remove status effects that last only for 1 turn. So I told you that the dial was very important, and it's very important, it's crucial in fact, because you have the different actions on every unit, and no unit has the same dial. So for example, the Risen here, the Risen army has very few different attacks, but the rider, the Worm Rider here, has a lot of different actions to choose from. So you're going to choose an action and a bonus, and the bonus has to be of the same color because it kind of changes the action you make, and or give you a bonus. So typically, for example, if I move, I'm going to move in a straight line. So for example, if I move by 3, I take the 3 ruler and I just slide the unit like this. But if I make a turn, for example, so usually when you turn, you move less than if you don't turn. But let's say I want to attack the cavalry here. So I'm going to use my ruler again, but the bent one this time, and then slide the unit, and it bumps into the hero here. So we come to close contact, and we're going to fight, even if it's not the cavalry. So sometimes you may move into a unit and charge, so attacking it at the same time. Sometimes you don't plan that good far ahead, and you're going to bump into enemy units. You also can bump into enemy units because they moved before you. So on every action of the wheel, you have a number, and this is the initiative. It is again crucial. You're going to call out initiative orders, starting by 1 and rising up until 7 or 8. And every time you're going to call an initiative that someone has selected, that player would say, okay, I have an action to perform. Then starting with the player who has the turn dial, so which is basically the wheel that tells you on which turn we are, people are going to take 1 action. So to take 1 action, you just lay down the dial you're going to activate it, and then give the opponent priority to play. So if we fight by selecting distance combat or melee combat, or by charging someone, we're going to throw these dice. So we have 3 types of dice, and no unit is going to play with the same dice. You have hit symbols, bonuses that trigger effects that are on the cards. You have panic symbols, which allow you to panic enemy units, etc., etc. So you have a panic deck, and you're going to try to panic enemy units, because if you do that, you're going to draw cards and apply their effects on the opposing unit. So for example, if I panic the cavalry unit, I may be able to frighten the cavalry unit, and it tries to flee and to run, and it turns sideways, and that way I can flank that unit and deal more damage. So that's the kind of thing you can expect from panic. So again, if I kill troops, I'm going to remove them from the plates, like this, and if I remove a sufficient number of units, for example, if I remove 4 units from the pikemen here, I can simply remove the plate, and that means that that unit has lost power. That's how I cull the numbers, and I make this army worth less victory points, because the plates are what make the victory points in the end of the game, plus the objectives. And the third phase, finally, is cleaning all the effects like dazed, stunned, panicked, diseased, whatever. You have a lot of different effects, and you will also roll or throw these tokens, which are double-sided. So these are the runes of magic of this game. And some units, like the Rune Golem or the Risen, are going to have powers. So the Risen rise and revive, and the Rune Golem attacks stronger, or can move, like he can almost teleport if a certain number of runes are thrown. So you're going to throw the runes, and they are going to stay like this for the remainder of the turn, until the next turn. And then once you have performed these 3 phases, the turn is over. You just take the turn dial, turn it 1 pip, and then give it to the other player and rinse and repeat. You're going to do that for 8 turns. And then at the end of the 8 turns, you check the objectives. If they have been met, some people might have victory points. You add that with the victory points of your units, your remaining units, and then the one with the most victory points is the victor. The game also allows you to have improvements and equipments. So these are cards which have a cost in army points, which means that if someone selects them, the other will have more army points, either to have more units or other equipments. So they change the behavior of the units, make them more resilient, stronger, that kind of thing. You can also create different armies if you have more boxes or if you buy expansions. These are typically represented on the back of the cards. So for example, for this this unit, you can have more than one. You can have up to 6 of them, even if you have only 1 in the core box. So if you have more units, you can create your very own army and try actually to choose the best combination of units you can have. Well then, you know almost everything there is to know about Runewars The Miniature Game, so bye bye and see you on LudoBox.